Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to say call halal, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem, Rakah, Kwadash. I want to send double honors to the apostles, elders, bishops, great millstone. I want to send much peace, love, salutations to your Akim out there pushing the word of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, sincerity and truth. This is Brother Ariala. And on this lesson, I want to call it The Pressure is On. The pressure is on. Just recently, you had Donald Trump basically get approval from the courts about the SNAP ruling and extending, stopping payments for people that are in need of aid to, just buy basic goods, foods, and stuff like that. This program is supposed to help the working poor, basically people who make low income, that really their wages don't fight against inflation, and kind of just bridge the gap between the those that are more well off and those that are just kind of barely scraping by. Right now, this ruling basically keeps about 42 million people from receiving, the benefits that they're normally used to having. And what that's causing is a lot of strain and a lot of squeeze on the poor, And so these are things that are done to push out certain spirits in people, man. A spirit of necessity, a spirit of fear, a spirit of basically just doing what the government says in order to just live your life, And these are the type of things that lead to, calamities and chaos so that they can do what? Order ab chaos, like we always talk about, man. And when you look at it, you see the demeanor that Trump has about it. He don't give a damn about people. And when you understand it, this SNAP program is not what's causing, the United States to lose tons and tons of money, But I will talk about that in just a second. I'm gonna play this, and we'll just kind of touch on it a little bit. Lord willing, this is edifying.
Of the historic government shutdown now in its 39th day. Late last night, the Supreme Court granted the Trump administration's emergency appeal to temporarily withhold about $4 billion to fund the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP. The ruling by Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson gives the lower court more time to consider the administration's arguments, but it adds to the uncertainty of the program, which helps feed 42 million Americans. For the first time since the shutdown began, the Senate will work through the weekend to try to end the impasse. President Trump is spending the weekend at his Florida resort. That's where our Willie James Inman has traveled to meet with the president. Willie, good morning.
Michelle, good morning to you. That temporary block on SNAP benefits by the Supreme Court adds to the confusion millions of Americans are feeling as they wait for food assistance and as the Trump administration targets meat packing companies over the price of beef.
This weekend, the president is directing the Department of Justice to investigate what he describes as price fixing and price manipulation by foreign meat packing companies. The president offering no evidence to support his claim. His social media post comes as he appeared to brush aside concerns about rising prices earlier this week.
I don't want to hear about the affordability.
On Friday, he elaborated on his earlier comment, claiming prices are lower under his watch.
They said, I don't want to talk about affordability. The reason I don't want to talk about affordability is because everybody knows that it's far less expensive under Trump than it was under.
And we know that what he's saying is a complete crock of shit. Everyone that's been buying food and been buying goods can clearly see that prices have been continuously going up, And that's why you see the price of gold and everything like that go up against the dollar, because the dollar is worth less. It's worth less in this society, But what I want to lock in on is his demeanor towards the situation. There's a level of ruthlessness that he has towards people that have less. He's chilling in Mar-a-Lago, eating good. Meanwhile, people that really that are poor or are struggling without a certain amount of aid. It says this in the book of Sirach, the 34th chapter. And I'll go to verse 21. It says, "Food means life itself to poor people, and taking it away from them is murder. It is murder to deprive someone of his living or to cheat an employee of his wages." And right now with these government shutdowns, that's what you see. You got tons of people who live check to check that are not being paid for the work that they've done. They're being defrauded. and they're not able to buy the things they need. And also, you've had people that have signed on to these programs and have made a certain lifestyle that you've agreed to, you know, and now it's being snatched away. But we've been telling people you can't trust this man. Never trust thine enemy. You know. But so all these people that depend on the government for their sustenance, really it's the curses. Now that strain and that pressure is being put on by Esau because he's getting ready to switch from one type of rulership and economic political system to another one. And so he wants people to be frantic. So these people that are used to going and having the SNAP benefits or whatever, taking their food away, it's like murder, man. It's like murder. And he says that, things are cheaper. That's a damn lie. Things are much more expensive.
The sleepy Joe Biden. And the prices are way down.
But a new report shows consumer sentiment dropped in October as Americans expressed concern about prices. Meanwhile, some 42 million Americans are without food assistance. On Friday, the Department of Agriculture said it would fully pay out benefits following a judge's order. The Trump administration appealed to the Supreme Court, saying paying the benefits in full would take away from other programs. Some Americans expressed...
No, it wouldn't. Paying it wouldn't take away from other. See, when you look at the government budget, it's massive. It's absolutely massive. The how much we spend on defense alone eclipses the rest of the world. Literally, we spend almost $1 trillion a year just on defense, just on the military, and having it functioning all around the world. All the military bases that are around the world, it's almost $1 trillion. You take 1% of that, 1% of that trillion, and you can pay off all of this stuff, literally. But they want to make you feel like it's the niggas living in the lowest, dirtiest parts of America are the ones that's causing America to fail, because you have to be the face of the collapse. You have to be the problem. When the problem is that they've been paying hundreds of billions and trillions of dollars going around the earth, fucking with everything, jacking everything up. We saw how many billions of dollars that Elon and his Doge team found, like, of just frivolous things that they had been spending on. The $4 or $5 billion that goes into this SNAP stuff is a drop in the bucket to the United States economic machine. So when they push all of this out, it's to condition people's minds. It's to create chaos, divisions, so they can later come with a solution. It's just nothing but mischief. Point blank, period. All right? Psalms chapter 10, verse 2, it says, "The wicked in his pride doth persecute the poor. Let them be taken in the vices that they have imagined. For the wicked boasteth of his heart's desire, and blesseth the covetous, whom the Lord abhorreth. The wicked through the pride of his countenance will not seek after the Most High. The Most High is not in all his thoughts. His ways are always grievous. Thy judgments are far above that of his sight. For as for all his enemies, he puffeth at them. He hath said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity." And that's the spirit that you see Trump in. "His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity." See, it's all a setup. It's all one big setup. That's why, I want to read this too, because I wanted to touch on this in Revelation chapter 6, verse 5. It says, I got it in the NLT. It says, "When the Lamb broke the third seal, I heard the third living being say, 'Come.' I looked up and saw a black horse, and its rider holding a pair of scales in his hands. And I heard a voice from among the four living beings say, a loaf of wheat bread or 3 loaves of barley will cost a day's pay. And don't waste the olive oil and wine." I want to lock in on that day's pay for bread. With the rate of inflation, with the lack of benefits that these people are receiving, you get 1 week worth of a check, Your groceries, that's it. That's you barely making it, man. A lot of these people are barely hanging on. Okay? So if this thing gets strained out and goes into Thanksgiving and goes into Christmas, how much more people gonna be barely hanging on? That's gonna allow him to come with cursings and deceit and fraud and mischief to do what he wants to do. You know? Let me see.
Seeing frustration with Washington.
Get together and really think about it's for the people. It's not for you. It's for the people.
The longest government shutdown in American history showing no signs of ending. President Trump putting pressure on senators to stay in Washington this weekend to end the political stalemate.
We have a shutdown, as you probably know, because the Democrats have gone, they're crazy. They're crazy. But they don't care if they hurt the country.
Republicans want to extend government funding before any talks with Democrats on health care take place. But on Friday, Democrats presented an alternative plan, which includes an extension of Obamacare tax credits.
Leader Thune just needs to...
And so, and all this, there's just big old kids standing around in a room talking about nothing. The earth needs new management. These people have to be taken out of rulership. Everything needs to be scrapped, burned, and start over with righteous rulership. That's the only way we're going to correct the problem that's in the earth. The Bible prescribes that. You got some big ass kids telling you how your food's going to be processed, what we going to do with the money. They don't need to be in that position. They've shown it. Now, as this all is going on the back end, what do you have? You have Trump talking about these tariff dividend benefits. We told you in previous lessons about universal basic income, them automation and AI, all right? And using the profits for these things to create a system to where you just get a check in the mail. But you're going to have to follow the rules to get it. Now, I'm just going to read, I'm going to let this play a little bit. It said, for the people that's driving, Trump promises at least $2,000 tariff dividend payments directly to Americans. Which Americans? What you going to have to do to get it? It says, President Trump in a Sunday morning post on Truth Social promised to send at least $2,000 directly to Americans using tariff revenue, promising to reward taxpayers. Reward taxpayers and pay off the U.S. debt, right? And he posted Truth Social. Trump lambasted opponents of his tariff policy as fools just days after both conservative and liberal justices on the Supreme Court scrutinized his administration's use of the International Emergency Economic Powers Act to impose them. The promised $2,000 checks would not be issued to high-income people, Trump noted, but did not provide details on what income level would disqualify recipients. Trump's post also gave few details about how or when the rebate checks will be sent, but you best to believe it's going to come with major stipulations. You're going to have a digital ID. You're going to have to follow these rules. It's going to be leading into that MOTB system. The pressure is on. What do you think these lower income people that have not been getting their SNAP benefits, that may not be getting paychecks from the jobs that they work, that are struggling, they're going to eat this shit up. They're going to eat it up, man. It's leading right into an MOTB system, man. This is the craftiness. This is the mischief. This is how they play games, man. So they may let this government shutdown keep going. So when they roll this out, people will be ready and willing to do whatever the government says, man. Point blank, period. Second Ezra chapter 16, verse 19, it says, Famines, epidemics, troubles, and suffering are sent to punish and correct people. But in spite of all this, they will not turn away from their sins. They soon forget their punishment. The time is coming when food will be so cheap that people will think a time of peace and plenty has arrived, but then disasters will spring up everywhere: wars, famine, and great confusion. Many people on earth will starve to death, and those who escape starvation will be killed in war. Their corpses will be thrown out like garbage, and there will be no one left to comfort the living. The earth will be deserted and its cities demolished. And so all of these plagues that the Most High prescribes are set up, man. These are all links in a chain of prophecy. So as they extend these government shutdowns, more pressure on the disparaged, the disenfranchised gets put on the people, because 42 million is a lot of people, bro. America is about 380 to 400 million people. 42 million is 10%, a little bit more than 10%. That is massive. That is a massive amount of people, man. It'd be different if it was, 1.5, 2% of the population. This is 10%, bro. That's a big chunk. Okay? You know what it's like to tie 10%. Sometimes it's like, right? So what you think about the population, bro. So they getting ready to make moves, and if they start, politicizing these tariff rebate checks, we're going to see this thing escalate real fast. Real fast. So I wanted to touch in on that Lord willing. That was edifying, man. With that being said, I'll say, call hello, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, elders of Great Millstone. Much peace, love, and salutation to Yakim out there pushing the word of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, sincerely and true. Shalom.